Today we welcome Naturopath Louise Kane Buckley from Loula Natural. Louise, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and how you came to do it?
Hi. I grew up around the world. I was born in Baghdad to British parents, an English mum and a Scottish dad. And when I was one, we moved to Hong Kong, and where I stayed until I was 18, went to university in London, where I met my Irish husband, took my family back to Hong Kong, and then we came back here in 2018 with the kids. And so I'm a naturopath, which is a little bit like a GP, but we only use nature to heal and restore the body back to function and vitality. So it's a holistic look at the whole body functioning together as well. So that's mind, body, emotional health, mental health, as well as physical health. So it's a bit different from what people would normally look for here in Ireland, but I've been doing it for 20 years.
Okay.
Previous to that, I was an actress, and all I ever wanted to be was an actress.
Yes, yeah.
So it seems like there's, like, when I said to people I'm going to train as a personal trainer, that everyone was like, what are you talking about? You don't even go to the gym. It was a change that I never looked back from.
Okay.
And have completely loved. But things like this, like performing in front of large groups of people or small groups of people, is my happy place and my comfort zone.
Okay.
So I feel like I'm still the actress.
Yes, yeah.
A little bit more authentic. I'm not playing a role or reading a script.
Yeah.
But it's that's who I am.
Okay. And could you begin by explaining what naturopathy is, particularly how it differs from conventional medicine?
Yeah, so all doctors would have been naturopaths back in history. And it's only really the last 150 years that conventional medicine has twisted and turned into what we see it as today. A naturopath is like I said, it looks at the whole body. It looks at root causes. It doesn't look for a diagnosis to have a protocol. It looks at how body systems are functioning or not functioning, how they're aligning or misaligning alongside each other. And it's always going to the root. What's the root cause so that we can get back to function rather than looking at symptom management. So it's about, kind of my tagline is serve your cells. And once your cells are functioning, then the knock-on and ripple effect of that is a fully functioning, thriving human being, which we can all come to. So I'd say the main difference is root cause versus symptom management.
Okay. And could you elaborate on how you integrate nature and modern science?
Yeah, so, I mean, they're both really saying the same things. The innate wisdom that we have and the traditional wisdom that we have from nature, and how nature moves, how nature grows, how nature thrives, is very similar to what we're finding in science. They go hand in hand. For example, fermentation has been for centuries. There are documented cases BC of fermented foods being in play in terms of health management. And now studies into the microbiome are showing up, how important that is for our whole body health. So, like working with nature and working with science, all of what we do is evidence-based. And, research is fascinating. So,
Okay. Beyond physical health, how do emotional balancing and stress management techniques integrate into your holistic approach?
Well, they're integral. So often, I mean, as a naturopath, it's more of an umbrella term. So a naturopath will use nature to heal and restore the body back to function and vitality. So then you have your tool belt on how do you do that. And so I kind of started off as a personal trainer. So my anatomy knowledge was very rooted and grounded in terms of how the body moves and doesn't move. It can inform what's going on. And then you're looking at breaks or sprains or something not functioning. But at the center of all that is the nervous system. And so when you have the nervous system, if it's in fight or flight, for example, inflammation will never be switched off because it's necessary. So, rest and recovery is where the healing takes over. We have to feel safe. And then when we say feel safe, I mean, we're sitting, very safely in a room together. But, there's added pressure of, recording and sounding really good. And so there's that anxiety that's building in you. Your body doesn't necessarily translate the difference between a bus hurtling towards me and me thinking, oh gosh, I'm going to sound really stupid. The physical response is the same.
Yeah.
So, you've really got to, if you have a physical symptom and you're coming to me with a physical symptom, we've got to look at the underlying emotional things that are going on there as well. And vice versa. Coming in with an emotional symptom, we've got to look at how is the physical working. So, they can't really be separated. So I have lots of different tools that will help you with both.
Okay. And Loula Natural offers a wide range of therapies, including nutrition, Reiki, and back flowers. How do you decide which tools are most appropriate for an individual client needs, and how to ensure each session is tailored to the client's specific requirements?
Well, most of the time it's the client will come in and be requesting something.
Yeah.
But then it'll be a kind of, it's 20 years of experience as well. So it's listening to what the client is saying to you, listening to what the client believes in, listening to what the client is looking for. More often than not, I'll start a session saying, what is it that you want from this session? Even though they've come to me for, months and years, I'll still start with, okay, what is it that you're looking for from this session? And then we'll go through, okay, I think that let's muscle test some herbs, let's talk about nutrition, let's get on the bed and do some craniosacral therapy, let's do some tapping, here choose some bark flower remedies. So it kind of flows fairly seamlessly nowadays because of my experience in knowing what works. And also from my acting experience, doing a lot of improvisation, reading the room, reading people's body language.
The hidden cues kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%. Like people will say, yeah, no, that sounds great. But you're like, okay, no, that's not what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
So, it's a little bit of I wouldn't say a game because that frivolizes it, but it's very much keeping the client, getting what they're looking for.
Okay.
And then being adaptable.
Okay. And do you think, is there a common thread across a lot of your consultations? Do the same issues keep on coming up or cropping up?
Yeah, absolutely. And more often than not, it'll be the place I'm in as well will attract, more often than not, I'll be saying things to people that I need to hear myself as well. Yeah. But yes, absolutely, stress management, the impact of stress physically and emotionally on people, and, kind of pushing through those boundaries all the time. The body is telling you something and you're kind of like, oh, I just need to get through this week, or I just need to get the kids back to school, or, that kind of stuff comes in a lot. I tend to see a lot of women. I'm, of course, open to seeing men and have successfully had great results working with men, but I tend to see women.
Okay.
And women tend to come to see me about their kids first. So, those would be the kind of through lines. Okay. But I'm very well known for chronic pain, chronic conditions, kind of health, hormone transitional periods of time, and sleep.
Okay. Sleep, it's a big one.
Yeah.
And beyond consultations, you offer online and in-person classes and webinars. What are some of the popular topics and what do participants gain from them?
So over the years, I have loved teaching classes. Education is one of the main pillars of naturopathy, educating you about how your body works so that you can go out and make choices for yourself, listen to the symptoms that are coming up and understand what those symptoms are signaling, what they're communicating to you so that you can make those choices. So I've taught classes on a variety of subjects, from children's nutrition, lunchboxes, through to hormone balance. And then from those two classes and from my own health issues that I had as well, I started fermenting.
Okay.
And so, as I was kind of putting out there that I was fermenting, this is when we moved back to Hong Kong primarily, so about 15 years ago, and everyone was like, oh, so are you selling your products?
Mm.
And I was like, no, there's a lot of things. I don't want to get into that. I'm not a product maker per se, but I'll teach you how to make it. And actually, if I teach you how to make fermented products, what you make in your kitchen is far superior to what I make in my kitchen and sell to you, because your microbiome has had a play in that.
Yes, okay.
So, you know, making it playful, making it easy, making it accessible to people, making them excited about doing it in their kitchen and what flavors they're going to make has been a big part of that. And that's been a really successful facet of my services, is the fermenting workshops. I also teach Reiki level 1, Reiki level 2 and master as well. But those are more niche kind of when people are looking specifically for Reiki. One of the classes that I'm teaching now that I'm really, really enjoying and I'm really excited about is called Power Pause, which is like a little, it's a mini retreat. So it's going to be monthly to help people build on a commitment to their nervous system health. It's going back to my personal training roots, really, and looking at fascia and looking at, you know, the fascia and the nervous system are so intrinsically connected. And fascia joins every cell to every cell. And every organ to every body system. And, you know, it's like a big old sock that you wear in your body that responds very much to the nervous system. So it's when you tighten or you loosen. So doing those exercises with a mix of breathwork and meditation on a monthly basis, not just, you know, those lovely days away from your family that you take on the odd Sunday. So it's, you know, it's about making it regular, making it accessible and encouraging people to take one thing from it. So in both my fermenting classes and this Power Pause class, it's like, okay, here's a wide variety of inspiration for you. Just take one home and get good at that one. And then, you know that you can come back and learn more.
Yeah. Okay. And your handcrafted therapeutic products like the Wild Jam Balm and Recovery Balm are unique. What inspired you to create these and what benefits do they offer?
So it was really when I moved to Ireland and I was looking at what was on offer to recommend to clients and seeing a lot of perimenopausal women. And myself being a menopausal woman, I couldn't find what I was looking for. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to have to make it. So, for example, there are lots of magnesium oils and magnesium products on the market. But the difference between seeing, say, a well-being coach overseeing a naturopath, for example, is that I'm always looking at therapeutic values of things. So, yeah, it's great for you to use magnesium, but actually this level of magnesium is what you need to be doing. And so I was seeing that a lot of the magnesium products were falling short of being therapeutic. So I wanted to make something that was actually going to work. And so I combined that then with homeopathic arnica and chamomile and lavender and Bach flower remedies, because the emotional and the physical need to both be present for anything to be truly therapeutic. So the Bach flower remedies in all of my handmade products make that kind of link to the emotional. So yeah, so then the Wild Jam Balm. Wild Jam has been used for centuries for all women, not just perimenopausal women. So my pubescent daughter uses it as well. And anyone who is going through fertility or reproductive or just cycle changes could really benefit from Wild Jam. And what it does is it doesn't give the body the hormone. It encourages the body to come up with the right ratio of hormones. So whether that's progesterone, estrogen, or DHEA, it supports the body to make that balance itself, which for me is far more beneficial than just giving it the hormone. So I made that alongside, and of course, because stress plays such a big role, I wanted to use other herbs alongside that to help manage the impact of stress on the body. So I used tulsi and skullcap and frankincense, clary sage, lavender, and then the Bach flower remedies in there. And then the recovery balm. I get loads of bruises and the kids are always knocking themselves and hurting themselves. And my husband continues to run in his 50s, so he needs support with that as well. So the recovery balm is really about tissue repair. It's about inflammation, so it's really good for arthritis. It's really good for any scars, any bruises, any skin irritations, dermatitis, eczema, all that kind of stuff. Those 3 products are all I make, and I'm not going to make anything else because those were the 3 products I couldn't find. Those 3 products have supported so many people, and we can't live without them, like in our family. So I continue to make them. But yeah, really, it was to facilitate clients and getting them what they needed.
Okay. And so you kind of used your own personal, what you needed yourself, and knew what was needed elsewhere to kind of form what you needed to make. So.
Yeah, well, I noticed that Irish people don't really like buying things online. And I was, that in Hong Kong, it was completely different. So I had my go-tos of where to get things. So when I'm looking in the health food shops and what's available in person in those 3 areas.
Okay. And you're addressing, you said there about the mind, body and spirit. How do these 3 elements interact and influence a person's health?
So you can't separate them. When you think and feel something, you have a physical response to that, and vice versa. When you have a physical knock or break, then you have an emotional response to that. And part of that is why I work so closely with chronic pain, because pain science nowadays is really fascinating. And so the latest in pain science is that 95% of pain is emotional based and 5% of it is physical based, which is huge, right? So, you stub your toe, I stub my toe, the same physical force, the same physical injury, but a completely different reaction pattern, like how we feel about it afterwards, how we heal. That needs to be taken into consideration. It's not just, okay, let's give the body the fats and the proteins and the whatever to do the healing. It's the space, it's the environment that is so important. It's, your history with pain comes into it so much. When you're looking at mind, body and physical, that's why EFT is so amazing. You can actually tap on the intensity of pain. So you can be like, oh my God, there's number 10 pain, there's number 10 pain. And as you're tapping and just saying, this hurts so much, this hurts so much, this hurts so much, the pain actually starts to decrease.
Okay, yeah.
And I've experienced that. I've had raging tooth pain. I got to the point where I was like, they're going to have to take out my jaw. I'm going to have a metal jaw. It was so beyond excruciating. And I had 2 babies with nothing. I had rescue remedy from my 2 births. And I was like, this pain is too much. I can't take it. And I was like, okay, we need to actually sit into the pain. And, it's just a tiny part of your body. There are so many other things that I was feeling. And once I tapped into what feels good, where's the good news in my body, stop listening to the bad news all the time. And we can relate that to outside of our bodies as well. But where's the good news in my body? And I can't tell you how quickly this pain disappeared.
Gosh, yeah.
I literally crawled up the stairs from my family going, I got to go. I've got to leave you all. And 5 minutes later, coming downstairs asking what was for dinner. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so you can't separate those sides of things. And people go to GPs with pain all the time, or they get referred on. And more times people are told that there's nothing wrong with them and it's all in their head. Part of that is true, but saying that is not helpful because the pain is real, right? And people are feeling
manifesting
this
itself,
pain. Yes. And so I have the tools that can help you to notice it, what to do with it and how to react to it. And to be listened to and felt heard and seen as well is really important. So it's a really all-encompassing part of my work is all of those 3 factors that you listed.
Okay. And what do you believe is the biggest overlooked factor in chronic health conditions?
Pushing through.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whether that's, taking a Panadol for a headache or, the worst one is when you've got pain, real pain, like ankle, back, recurring pain that you're just numbing with painkillers and not dealing with and pushing through to the next period of time, the next window that never, ever appears. And, nobody wakes up and has cancer, things progress over time. And so pushing through, I think, really this idea of doing it all, of coping with everything, just for the next week or the next month or the next school year or, until the kids leave or, and until whatever, right? Pushing through, I think, is totally overlooked.
Okay.
I think we should be thriving in the present.
Okay. Deal with it now.
Yeah. And rest.
Yeah.
If your body has pain, it's telling you to rest.
Yeah.
And what is rest?
Yeah.
And, so exploring that is overlooked.
But do you think as well, like people just think, oh, I can't stop, like I feel like that sometimes there's this kind of almost, we have to be always doing something, we have to be always on, we have to always be busy. Like taking a rest is almost like showing a weakness, but it's not.
It's really fascinating. It's actually a particularly Irish thing that I've noticed because, for example, in Hong Kong, we all had live-in help. So, like you take that load away from you and that's totally normalized and fine. Whereas people will completely put it on themselves to have their house spick and span at all times, just in case somebody pops over.
Yeah.
But, that person that pops over, if they are looking for that little bit of dust, then there's more wrong with them than what's wrong with you, right? But it is this idea of, yes, we can't. But if you replace the can't with won't, because really you can, of course you can, you won't, right? It does change things when you start saying, oh, I won't stop. Then you're kind of like, oh, why won't I, right? But if you say I can't stop, but you go, yeah, you can't, right? But if you say, no, I won't, then, so little subtle changes in how you speak to yourself can be really important because you need to stop. You don't need to do everything. Nothing is ever going to be perfect, right? And, offloading and knowing where to offload, like passing that responsibility back to where it is necessary is a skill to learn, right? So we take on all this responsibility, but we don't need to, right? So if we just take a moment, take a pause, understand what rest is, give ourselves permission because it's important for us to survive, because at some point you really won't be able to do everything. You'll get stopped in your tracks.
Exactly. Yep. You've had a diverse career path, starting as an actress and personal trainer. How have these earlier experiences shaped your approach as a naturopath and business owner?
I think one of the main things it's taught me is empathy, learning how to listen. We were taught how to active classes before active listening was a thing, right? Like you had to listen and respond, right? And, in improvisation, it was always a yes response as well. And so, that has really helped me put myself into other people's shoes, put myself into a character and learn that empathy in that way as well. How to change my voice, how to change my tone in spaces to help people feel safe. And also when you're trying to educate someone, not talking down to them, using your vocabulary, reading a room is so important, reading your audience.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right? Those skills have been really, really important. And then through personal training, working in gyms, I was working in a really busy city gym in London. So majority of the people coming in were kind of banking, the law courts were down the roads, we had judges, we had lawyers, we had all sorts of barristers, all sorts in the room. So customer service was a really big skill that I learned, but also, kind of working with different people all the time and seeing people as human beings, not as, they can afford me, they can, that kind of stuff goes out of the window. It's like, okay, what do you need from me? Going to have to cold call or going up to someone on a treadmill and reading, like, is this a great time to be saying, would you like a personal trainer? No. When they're, doing their ab curls on the mat, that's a better space to approach people. So understanding marketing, understanding people's behavior to help them change habits and giving me those skills. We also used a lot of meditation as well to calm nerves, to build character. I remember in my A-levels, doing a lot of visualization exercises to visualize the character, visualize their physicality so that we could change our physicality on stage. So using that in my meditations that I write now and in all the mindfulness classes that I've taught over the years, like it feels like everything prepared me for this moment, this present moment, and being adaptable and being able to change and and then being told no, of course, because
Yeah.
we got a lot of that in acting. But, and understanding that it's not actually about you, and taking that on the chin and keep going forward. That's all helped me. And I've never worked for anyone. I've
Wow.
never worked for anyone. Yeah.
Fair play.
Yeah. I've been self-employed my entire career.
Gosh, yeah.
So that doesn't scare me either.
Yeah.
A lot of people that come to this later or come out of salaried employment, that's the biggest scare. But knowing how to create work, knowing how to pivot, knowing how to serve what people are looking for, that is a skill that I've learned over the years through all of the different things that I've done.
You're here now, so at the point that you want to be as such.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. And you wrote a book on fermenting kefir and kombucha. What led you to focus on this topic, and how important are fermented foods in your health philosophy?
So it's not often that people will leave the room without me of mentioning the microbiome.
Yeah.
So really, really fundamental for human health, particularly in the way that society and community and food production works nowadays. The microbiome has, especially after post-COVID, the microbiome was hugely affected. So, understanding that balance. Probiotics go part way to addressing the microbiome. They're like the polite house guest who comes and eats all the nice biscuits but leaves you with the washing up, right? Whereas the fermented foods is your next door neighbor that comes over, brings the cake and does all the washing up for you, and has probably cleaned your surfaces at the same time, right? So fermenting is so important. And when I was teaching the classes, like I said, people were like, oh, do you sell them? No, but here's the recipe. So people were tasting things in my classes and they're like, oh, what did you do? So I wrote an ebook, first of all, that went alongside the classes. And then everyone was like, oh, we'd love a physical book. So I was like, okay, fine, here's the physical book. And I've always had a series. I have a lot of ebooks that I've written. And I've got the series in my mind. I can picture it on the shelves. There's Culture Your Life, there's Nurture Your Life, just all of the different ones and all of the different facets of health in my future. That's certainly in the future. I have the bones of all of them. So if any publishers are out there listening, I'm a sure fix. So fermenting is so important. And the book was so easy to write, full of recipes and passion and research. There's a lot of links to a lot of research in the book and education, understanding what fermenting is, what kefir is, what kombucha is, and how beneficial it is to your life.
And it is quite, a popular topic at the moment. People are really, seeing the benefit of fermented foods.
Yeah.
So I can see those books will be published in your future.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah, very good. And do you still love to perform, and how does this creative spirit manifest in your current work?
Yes. So I actually am a very nervous person.
Really?
Yes. So, yes, I perform all the time. I absolutely hate going into a room full of people.
Okay.
And so recently joined Network Ireland and just hated every moment of going into a room and having to talk to people.
Yeah.
As me. I come in as the naturopath, as Loula Natural, talking about my passion, talking about health, not a problem. Talking about myself, a little bit stickier. So, so that kind of ability to put on the persona and swallow the nerves is used every day.
Okay, yeah.
But kind of psychotherapy has really helped the anxiety of it. The level of anxiety is a lot lower than it ever was. But anxiety is energy, right? Like, you have to have it. If you were to go out on stage without anxiety, your performance would fall dead.
Yes,
flat,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
So you need it. It's when it stops you from doing things. And so noticing when I stop doing things and then going, oh, I have a tool for that. I am the worst at using my own tools, like we all are.
Yeah.
I have my own practitioners that I go to because I don't want to heal myself. Well, of course I heal myself, but, I want the support from other people. The tools that I've gathered for others, as I said to you before, I need to listen to my own advice.
Yes.
So, so that performance aspect does get used on a daily basis.
And it's quite important, so too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Okay.
is, yeah.
Okay. And drawing on your diverse life experiences, which includes growing up in Hong Kong, studying in London, and now based in Ireland since 2018, how has this background influenced your business and the clients you serve?
Well, I guess being largely a city girl,
Mm-hmm.
the life of the city, the people, the diverse backgrounds of people. We grew up with every color, every race, every religion, everything in the school that we were in. So you didn't see any of it. You just saw people and human beings. And, I think that has really given me a great start in treating humans and the person in front of me and being interested in culture and being interested in, if you came into me and I started, giving you Asian recipes, that's not going to work. And vice versa in Hong Kong. I needed to know what the food culture was to help people with actionable changes that they could make. So that has helped me to learn to adapt to the person that's sitting in front of me. And also, being a person in the world today, right?
Yeah.
And then learning that empathy. And then in London, being creative and going to drama school and just doing all sorts of cool things. Like we did it was a devising theatre. So it was always, we were in the Oval Cricket Ground, we had to do a piece there. We worked with circus performers. We had to, like they're a whole different breed and what they can do with their bodies. Like the creativity of that, there were no boundaries and that the world is just playful, And London was an exciting, vibrant place to spend your 20s and then having kids there and then moving back to Hong Kong and understanding, kind of life as a kid is very different from life as an adult when you're the provider.
Yeah.
And then moving here and nature, like when I moved here to Ireland, my dad had died suddenly. And so it was a lot of grief involved in the move here. And nature was so restorative and so supportive and just looking at how beautiful everything was and how vibrant and how alive everything was. And, the sense of community is so different here that I've ever experienced.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And, the value of that, and learning that, people don't like to buy online. So how are you going to solve this problem? And, people, you don't advertise online. You have to advertise in person and it's all word of mouth. And that's not my comfort zone.
Yeah.
So, like learning that there are different ways of doing things and no way is the correct way has kept life exciting, has kept life vibrant and new. And I am a very curious person. I like to learn. I like to ask questions about, how does that work? RIP.ie, fascinating. Fascinating. So, like all of these things are, it's fun and it keeps life fresh.
Absolutely. And as a business operating in County Cork, what unique health challenges or opportunities do you observe within the local community and how do you engage with your community?
So I think the opportunities are in community for sure, and getting into communities and getting to know people. And really, the first thing people want to do is place my accent all the time because it's not quite English. It's not quite Australian or South African. I get quite a lot of curious questions about where I'm from. And that opens, lots of conversations.
Yeah.
And of course, what I do is not normal here. So, it's kind of like, what is that? So it's the opportunities are in people here. And that's really exciting. And getting to know people and treating families, whole families. So, like I've treated newborn babies through to their grandparents. And that opportunity of having that access to families and the health of people's families is really exciting. And, just networking and co-working and collaborating, it is a big facet of Cork. Food is so huge in Cork, right? Like everyone is producing food and talking about food and eating food and loving food. And the food is of amazing quality.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So, there have only been opportunities here in terms of health struggles. I'd say it's the same as everyone else. I'd say the pushing through thing is the main thing that I've found here, that you have to keep going, can't stop kind of mentality that, and also looking after yourself, because everyone wants to look after everybody else first before themselves as well, and spending money on themselves. But that's okay, you know, like it's just about, you know, having opportunities like this to talk about what I can provide for you in your life, and how much your life can be more vibrant and, you know, functioning and exciting.
And do you think that like the word of mouth and community is important, like in something like that you do?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I recently, so teaching the classes in the space, so the studio is above where my treatment centre is.
Okay.
I've come back down into Kinsale. I've been in different places. My main practice is in Kinsale, and I also work in the Natural Clinic in Cork. And so those two communities are very different. And then being involved in the network as well, you know, building that community and having lots of different feeders out into the local environment, talking about what it is I do and how I've helped them, has been great and extremely valuable. So being in the right community, so the Natural Clinic has an amazing reputation for exemplary clinicians, for practitioners.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's great, you know, so to be in that clinic where working alongside really great practitioners is word of mouth in itself.
Yes, yeah.
And then in the clinic in Kinsale, because there's a class space above, it made sense to go into the class space and to teach and to get to know the people doing the classes, and being back in the heart of the town as well. So people are passing and seeing, and curious about what's going on.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's given me a good opportunity to talk about it as well.
Okay. And what's one piece of advice you'd give to someone who wants to take a more holistic approach to their health but doesn't know where to start?
So start small, okay? So I'll give you an example. Last night, actually, my 15-year-old daughter, who I have fed lunchboxes to, have been talking about nutrition for, you know, her entire life, has suddenly decided to make her own lunchboxes and to really focus on them being really well balanced and full of foods that she wouldn't necessarily be eating. And she made a whole list of all of the meals. So she starts back to school tomorrow, a whole list of all the meals she's going to eat for breakfast and lunch. And I was like, okay, this looks gorgeous, darling, but, you know, let's just start with one. So that it's totally achievable, right?
Yeah.
Because we're also excited about making these life changes for ourselves and finding all the recipes and writing it all down in our little notebooks. But actually going through with it, that becomes very overwhelming. Where do I start? So just start with one. So we're starting with Mondays being her day that because she has the weekend to prep for the Monday. So Monday is the day that she is going to focus on first. And once that gets into the routine, the rest will roll out, you know, fairly easily. But yeah, so extend that to everyone, you know, just come up with the one thing. Like I said with my classes, go home with one thing. So from this podcast, just take one thing that has been interesting rather than all of it, you know.
And then also as well, if you focus on one thing and you achieve it, there's a sense of achievement.
Yes, you feel so good about yourself.
Yes, yeah. I love that. Tick that box.
Yeah.
And what are your future aspirations for Loula Natural, particularly in terms of expanding your reach or services within Ireland?
I think corporate well-being is something that I have experience in Hong Kong particularly, and little bits of pieces here, webinars and in person, coming into schools and workplaces. And that is a really big place that I would love to start to develop a little bit more and using my voice a bit more. I was on the radio in Hong Kong on a weekly basis. I miss that so much. So coming and recording along with you today, like it really does feel very homecoming.
Yes, yeah.
And so using my voice, you know, doing these meditations, I'm recording them as I'm doing them. And, you know, I've always wanted to do my own podcast. So, you know, and developing the books.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Watch the space.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
Very good. Well, thanks so much, Louise, for taking the time to chat to us on the Cork Creative Podcast. If you'd like to learn more about Louise and what she does, you can find links to her socials and website on corkcreative.ie.
Thanks.